Louder.
Let's regroup now. Let's talk about this weekend. So many things happened. I had a totally different takeaway on CM Punk than a lot of guys did. I think I had a different approach leading into this thing with CM Punk. I liked it. I thought it was cool. And I got the jealousy that some other people's had. I got where people were upset because he did get an opportunity. He did cut the line. He did get a contract. He did get a big payday. He did get a main card spot. He did get the highlight reels. I get all of those things. But at the end of the day, he took a risk. He's the guy that's in the room every day doing something he doesn't know how to do, that he just wants to do. He's working hard. And frankly, he got dealt from the bottom of the deck. And so many people thought, well, this Mickey Gall, he doesn't really belong in there either, and found the right opponent. One guy's 0-0, and one guy's 1-0. You can say all of these different things. The bottom line is CM Punk took a huge risk. He did it half naked, and he did it on television for the whole world to see. As far as his performance goes, yeah, Joe Rogan nailed it. He was just in over his head and got lost in that position, and that position happened 3 seconds. 3 seconds into the fight, they were on the ground. Maybe 2. I mean, it was just instantly. The other side of it, and you didn't have to have the most trained eye to know this, but he was trying. Not for nothing. You cannot say that CM Punk wasn't trying. He got confused on where to go, where to push the knee, what time to go to guard or half guard or try to advance his position. That's all fair. I get it. And it was like Joe Rogan said, well, we got a white belt versus an established brown belt. All true points. But boy, he did try. He did not go out there, lay down, and give up. I mean, he got everything in the world bad that could happen to him did, and he let it happen. From losing position, particularly early on, from getting bludgeoned with shots. They were coming to the face. You saw what happened to his ear. It was swollen up. The guy's looking for submission. The guy's controlling his hips with the putting both hooks in. He's punching him. He's going back to submission. It's back and forth. And Punk keeps trying. He keeps trying to get up. He keeps trying to advance his position. He's trying to make it to the bell and get a restart. And I thought that there needed to be some consideration given to that. And it's not going to mean a whole lot to Punk. I know how he's feeling right now. Everything from embarrassed to depressed. But boy, he did go out there and try. Now, he did make a comment. He said, look, I'm not done. I'm going to be back. I think he could be wrong on that. I'm not positive he will, because, you do start to factor the age in. You do start to factor the point that, hey, we did our best here to also get an inexperienced opponent and do some of these things. I'm not positive that will be an option for him. But I tell you what, as a fan, I don't regret a single second of it. As a friend of CM Punk's, I was proud of him. I was inspired by it. I think that a lot of people, once it was done, finally got it and go, oh, okay, this is something a guy wanted to do. This is something that a guy didn't have to do. He didn't need the money. He didn't need the attention. Everything was stacked against him. Everything looked like we knew what this result was going to be, and he walked out there anyway. He manned up and made that walk anyway. And I thought that Gall, I thought that he was a pretty solid. First off, he's a handsome guy. He's young. Turns out his skills are damn good. Even if it was a brown belt versus a white, and when I say that, I'm coining Joe Rogan on that. I believe CM Punk was given either a blue or a purple belt by Henry Gracie. But to Joe's point, you could still see the position, the movement of the hips, the dealing with the spotlight. There was a lot of things that Gall did that were cool. And then, not for nothing, but he was fairly charismatic. His post-fight speech, I thought he could have done without the profanity. I liked the other things he said. I thought he was on point. He said, look, this might have been a gimmick match, but I'm not a gimmick. He then took that opportunity to call out somebody specifically by name, and in less than 15 seconds summed up his case as to why that fight should happen. Called out Sage Northcutt. Said, I think it'd be a good fight. Said, you came from the show Dana White looking for a fight. I came from the show Dana White looking for a fight. Look, historically, they love to do that. This Ultimate Fighter champion versus this Ultimate Fighter champion. Ultimate Fighter 17 versus Ultimate Fighter 9. They like to do that. I thought that Gall, I thought he made a good case. I thought he was a skilled guy. He made a good case. I wish he hadn't used the profanity because I thought he was a handsome enough, charismatic enough guy that he didn't need it. Joel?
All right, so you're talking about a couple different things, and you're missing, boy, God, is everybody missing the forest through the trees on this one. CM Punk didn't do anything wrong. He didn't do anything wrong. He said, you know what? Somebody gave him a call. It was Dana White and said, hey, you want to fight in the UFC for $500,000? And he said, yes, that's cool. Who wouldn't want to do that? I would, and I'd do it in a second. Here's our problem. Our problem is that he entrusted Dick Rufus, Ben Askren, Anthony Pettis, Tyrone Woodley, and everybody else that jumped up on the Mark bandwagon. And they sold us a different story. They sold us, hey, man, they didn't even sell us, hey, this is going to be competitive. Hey, man, he's going to win this fight. Now, when I'm talking to my buddies and I'm like, hey, CM Punk's going to get killed, or they're like, no, CM Punk's going to do good. He's going to win. Well, it's just two average guys talking. When the champion of the world, Tyrone Woodley, comes out 45 minutes before CM Punk's going to fight, I'm watching it at home with Lad, and he tells me, hey, he's going to win this fight. Well, then I've got to step back and say, wow, champion of the world said that he's going to win this fight. He wasn't. He wasn't never going to win the fight. They should have never let him out there against Mickey Gall. Yeah, he can train all he wants. Okay, let me ask somebody a question, Ben Askren. Did he go to wrestling practice ever? Did he get just murdered at wrestling practice? There was an amount of delusion going on in that camp somewhere that unless you guys just knew he was going to go out and get murdered and you played a gimmick the whole time because you sold it all wrong. You sold it all wrong, and to a guy that's never competed before in his life. Okay, yeah, he is a superstar. He made it to the top of the world in the WWE through the hard ways, through the indie circles. That guy's successful. He's tough as nails. He is not an athlete. He never wrestled. He never fought. He never boxed. He never did jujitsu. He came to you guys and said, hey, I want to fight and I want to win and I want to compete in the UFC. And somewhere along the line, you guys said it was a good idea. Nobody took him off that track. So CM Punk's got nothing to do here except reevaluate, see if he wants to drop the level and keep doing this. But those guys, they have some responsibility to a fan. Man, you can't tell me anything anymore. Tyrone Woodley, you can't tell me anything anymore. You got a podcast. I can't listen to you. Ben, I love you. I'm a fan of yours. You let that guy get in there.
That's an interesting take. I don't know if I agree with you on that, because there has to be something said for the bottom line is he had a contract before he went to the gym. He didn't go to the gym and then Rufus goes, hey, let me climb you up and use my contacts to get in the UFC. The shoe was on the other foot. CM Punk did go out of order. He went out. He had a dream and a goal. He went and got a contract, and then he found the gym. Well, when the finish line is there, what are you proposing, that Askren and the boys tell him, hey, let's kick the can?
No, this isn't our guy. We're not fighting Mickey Gall. Let's go scout this guy up. Let's go look at him. You've got it all wrong. You got to just remember, I fought.
But how do you scout Mickey Gall? He'd only had one fight, and then he came through that.
You guys get on the phone and talk to him. Is this a competitive fight or not? Is this that? CM Punk's never going to get sanctioned again in the world in the UFC. You're marking out. Yeah,
there's some truth there.
I'm being a little hard, and this isn't on CM Punk, and yeah, you're right, but the point is if this happened in your gym, okay, if Randy Couture, the school you come up in, and this was going on, Randy's gonna figure out his true level of competitiveness. And he's going to give him some good, strong advice. And I just did not see that. I did not see that. I seen a level of delusion come in there, and everybody knew what was going to happen. It was unrealistic from the start ever. Whether Mickey Gall becomes the 170-pound champion of the world or not, Mickey Gall's a 24-year-old stud. That guy doesn't go and get beat up by a 37-year-old man that's never competed in anything.
Okay. Yeah, in hindsight, I feel like in hindsight, yeah, that's hard to argue around. But unless I misunderstood you, you're putting this on the gym a little bit. How is it their fault? Look, Punk went out and got a contract and then went and did gym shopping. He found the right place. He had the right workout partners. One of the greatest coaching minds. I don't know if you've ever met Duke Rufus, but you would love
Duke
being
Rufus
around this guy.
is a stud. I watched him fight before there was the UFC.
Okay, but let me ask you this. If you're in Coach Rufus's spot and a guy shows up with a contract, he's got a finish line in place. All you can do is what you can do until that finish line's there.
What am I going to do?
Yes.
I'm going to mark out just like Rufus did, just like Askren did, just like Woodley did, just like everybody did, because I'm a mark. But let's at least call a mark on this one. They marked out. You got a privileged guy. Man, everybody quit telling me this heroic thing that a dude worth $7.5 million got to do. He got to train for 2 years with the boys. Wow, that's hard.
I'm not positive what side of this you're on. Are you in support of the CM Punk thing, or are you against it? He went out and did it. I'm a little confused.
No, he had an opportunity to do it. I would have done it. A million of us would have done it.
Okay, what's your gripe? You brought Tyron into this. What did Tyron do?
Tyron came out on the pay-per-view 40 minutes before, said he's going to win this fight. Man, this is a good fighter. He's going to win this fight. He's backing his boy. Okay. But yeah, you can't act like I'm talking crazy. That happened. If you're not embarrassed by that, as his bro, oh, well, God, you know how many times CM Punk's got his ass kicked in the last 2 years?
Tell me.
Once. It was the other night where the guy ripped his ear off and bloodied his face. Now, he thought he was getting beat up in the practice room. But you and I know something different than that.
It's different paces.
Yes.
It's different paces. I understand all that. I just feel like we're Monday morning quarterback in it. And I'll tell you this side of it, too.
I was on this on Friday. I was on it last week. I was on it a month before.
Do you regret watching the fight?
No, I never said I regretted watching the fight.
All right. I'm not saying you did say that, but I'm just asking, because I'll tell you this. On the other side of it, from the business standpoint, I will be curious how it did. You know, there is a law of supply and demand. There is a demand for CM Punk, and there's been no supply for a very long time. He walked out of the wrestling world. I thought that was a work. I thought Vince was in on this whole thing. CM Punk's getting sued by it's a mess, right? It's a public company. You can't keep secrets like you used to. It's a mess. He really came into this thing. It was worth my $50. I hope that he's okay. And I'm not sure. Are you being a dick to the CM Punk thing? I'm still not sure what side of this you're on.
The side of it I'm on is CM Punk was in way, 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 way over his head.
Okay.
Okay.
That's clear in hindsight. I can't dispute you.
Now, did you see the guy that Mickey Gall fought the first time in the UFC?
Yes, I watched the match.
That's the guy that CM Punk should have fought. And that might not even have been a close match. So yeah, I'm just on. And is CM Punk a demand? Well, yeah, he got jammed down our throat for the last 2 years by the UFC. I was never interested in it. Now you're doing movies and he's everywhere and fame is what you 500,000 people that listen to this show decide who's famous. But when you hear somebody's name over and over and over and over again, guess what? They're famous. You guys want to make me famous? Make me famous. I'd love to be famous. I'll be a cool famous guy.
All right, let's go back to Tyron. Now, you brought Tyron gave his prediction, and now you're saying you can't listen to Tyron. I give predictions all the time. I've been on a hot streak lately, but boy, I wasn't for a while. I mean, what are you saying? If a guy gets a prediction wrong, he loses.
What I'm saying,
he loses credibility.
I'm nobody. If I give a prediction, it doesn't matter. I'd say CM Punk's going to lose.
You're saying Tyron lended his name to the situation.
Absolutely.
I don't see the problem with it. Well, how are you mad at Tyron? You even mentioned Ben Askren listens to the. You're going to hear from Ben Askren about this.
Yeah, and I'm not scared of it. Okay?
But Ben is his teammate who tried to help him.
Yeah.
So what are you saying? That Ben should have pulled him aside and said, hey, Ben should have flown out and done a workout with Mickey Gall and learned the secrets?
This guy's going to kick your ass. This guy's going to kick your ass. Everybody knew. Come on, stop.
Oh, come on. Come on, we'd look down on Ben if he did that. If Ben, who is his teammate, who cares about him, pulls him aside, gives him an earful and says, hey, you can't do that. You're telling me that's what the right thing? No, come on. Come on, that would have been the wrong thing. Ben should have supported him, been by his side just like he was, helped him every way he could, and Punk made a decision he was going to go out there. And even if you're Ben and inside you're going, look, I don't know if this is going to be a great night, you do make the decision, I'm going to do everything I can to make it as great of a night.
All right, well, then let's look at it a different way.
All right.
Then let's get winning out of the equation on this one, Punk, and let's get competing into the equation. Let's get competing into the equation, because there's something that missed the boat on that. I mean, that guy was going to run through him 24 days from Sunday. Okay, it's not Monday morning quarterback. That's a 24-year-old stud. He's going to beat that man up every single time.
I'm still confused what side of this you're on. So are you on the side that Punk just shouldn't have gone out there, or he should have gone out there, but they should have still picked the opponent? And then certainly you're not suggesting...
That should not have been the opponent that
they
had.
You pick an opponent that you just, for sure, Punk can win? Well, that's not right either. Punk's got to go out and compete. The other guy's got to have a chance. We're not stacking the deck to help Punk.
It's got to be a closer playing field than that.
But he'd never done it. Who knew where he was at?
That's what I'm telling you. The boys in the gym knew.
I tell you what, I know you've got a point, and I trust it could even be a good one. I'm not hearing it though. I'm lost. Who is at fault here? His teammates? Is that what? What are you? What exactly are you suggesting?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that he was overmatched from the start, and they were all. That everybody was marking out for CM Punk because he's rich and famous.
All right.
Okay. And he was going to get his ass kicked the entire time, and they should have prepared him differently, been straight with him from the start, man. Hey, there's a really good possibility that you're going to get rim wrecked. Are you cool with that? CM Punk was delusional. And he's gonna be delusional for a while until he figures out where, if he's going to compete again. He said, okay, I'm going to compete again. Yeah, I should have done some things differently. Yeah, I get it. But man, to give him the Nobel Peace Prize for walking into a cage and getting his ass kicked, man, what are you supposed to do when somebody's beating your ass? You know, oh my God, he tried. Oh yeah, okay. You know, I don't get that. It doesn't make any sense. There's so much privilege that you're talking about. He got to train for 2 years with the boy. Okay, good for him. He got to make $500,000. Okay, good for him. You know, he was going to get murdered the whole time. And you, by telling me I'm crazy, are marking out.
I definitely marked out for it, but I still do even in hindsight. It was worth my $50. I'm glad I got to see it. I thought he did try. Well, he did try. There was I thought about it.
This isn't.
Yes, he didn't quite have the
skill. He was over his head
to get out of that position,
and he shouldn't have been on the main card.
Fine. I don't know how Tyron and Ben and Coach Rufus all got dirty on this.
How many times have I said it?
I don't know. I'm listening to you right now, and I'm finally starting to.
Am I a crazy person talking?
Understand what you're saying. All right, here, let's move on. Here's the point I did want to make, though. I don't know what the business side of it's going to be. And nobody will. I think the numbers come in this morning, right? They'll go to Dana. He never puts them out. But Meltzer and some other guys put out some predictions. One of the things that Meltzer uses to give his prediction, and I've seen Meltzer's predictions. He's off. But he is the closest I've seen. On the pay-per-views that I was in on, so I got privy to the numbers, Meltzer was way off. But he was the closest. And one of the things Meltzer uses is Google searches. In formulating what the buys did. CM Punk's fight alone had 1 million Google searches. To put that into perspective, the night that Tyron beat Robbie Lawler and became world champion, and that did fine business. They had 200,000 Google searches. Just to use that one metric to put that in perspective. I think the business probably did well. And I'll tell you this, and I realize Dana said that Punk's next fight's not going to be in the UFC. It's Dana's call. You can't go against it. I will offer you this, though. CM Punk is the smartest gypsy they've ever had holding a microphone that's been in that business. The only guy you could compare him to is probably Brock. If CM Punk wants to fight in the UFC, he's going to go lay low for a little bit. He's going to get his words together, and he's going to come back out. And if that's where CM Punk wants to go, he has the skill set to change all of our minds, mine included, and yours, and you'll fall for it too. He has that ability. And I don't know what side I hope. I was hoping he would do this one fight. I'm glad that he got to do it. I don't know necessarily that I am hoping for part 2, but that's up to him.
All right.
Let it go, make my body go, make our bodies high.